It was my birthday month, May, and you know, I might have treated myself just a little too much in that month. So let's start off with my library books, because I did go to the library and I did pick up a couple of books. One was The Oxford Year by Julia Whelan. You can go take a look at my Chicklitathon wrap-up to see what I thought of the book, and I'm gonna link that right up there. But you guys, wait till you see what I hauled. I can't even hold it up. It's kind of embarrassing. So from the library, I got 4 books. The first book it's been all over BookTube and Bookstagram as well. It's Brightly Burning by Alexa Dawn. And I'm told this is Jane Eyre in outer space. You know what a huge Star Wars nerd I am, so I am down for this. The next book is called Love Songs and Other Lies by Jessica Pennington. And this story is about a girl named Virginia Miller whose boyfriend wrote a song about her that became a big hit. It reminds me kind of Audrey Waite by Robin Benway, which I totally love, you guys. It is just, that is a perfect YA chicklet book. Anyway, she ends up with a dream internship of being on this reality show where they're like battling bands, and the ex-boyfriend's band just happens to be one of them. You know how I love my rock and roll stories. The next book is a recommendation by Lisa from Books and Smiles, and that's Deadly Summer by Denise Grover Swank. It's about a girl who starred in a teenage sleuth show a la Veronica Mars, and she's now a has-been. So she turns to what other TV has-beens turn to, is reality TV, where she is supposed to solve off-the-cuff mysteries in her hometown of Sweetbriar, Alabama. And for added drama, there's Police Chief Luke Montgomery, inconveniently Summers, that's the name of our protagonist, first and only love. And this is an adult romance, and it just sounds like mystery and chicklet. I'm still reading chicklet, of course. The next book I got was because, I don't know, the cover drew my attention immediately. It's just so beautiful, and you guys know that, like many of you, I suffer from anxiety and have most of my life. It's something that sadly I have passed on to my children. This book, Sarah Wilson's First We Make the Beast Beautiful, look at how beautiful the cover is Sarah Wilson is a journalist who wrote a book about like detoxing from sugar kind of thing. But this is her journalistic approach to discovering what it is about anxiety that, you know, we can approach differently. So she interviews everyone from like therapists, other anxiety sufferers, the Dalai Lama, people that are very prominent in the field of anxiety and research. I read the first 50 pages and was immediately hooked, because this is not really a self-help book, but it gives you a unique perspective because of her journalistic approach. And the title comes from a Chinese proverb about attacking problems, that you have to first make the beast beautiful. You have to see the beauty within. And I thought, if I could only see the beauty in that anxiety that I experience on a daily basis, maybe that would give me an in as to how I can just quell it. The next book is a complete indulgence. I don't even care that I bought it. I swear it jumped on the conveyor belt at the grocery store, you know, amongst the fruit and the mangoes in particular. Couldn't resist. It's the mass market paperback of Cassandra Clare's City of Bones. Oh my gosh, you guys. I mean, it is a brick of a book. It is, I think I just posted this on Instagram. It is 600, oops, there's the epilogue. It's 694 pages, plus there's a bit of an intro to City of Ashes, which I think now all City of Bones contain. And it's just beautiful. And look, it's like floopy. Perfect beach reading book. Plus, look at this, you guys. The font is the same as it is in the hardcover, which is what makes this book such a big, chunky book. Love it. The next book, you guys remember how obsessed we all were with Hamilton, my whole family. We saw it last year in San Francisco. It was magnificent. And when I saw this book at Costco, My Dear Hamilton, by Stephanie Dray and Laura Kamoe, it's a novel of Eliza Schuyler Hamilton. Just a romance, historical romance perspective. I think that they did do some research, so I'm just looking forward to it. Plus, you know, deckled edges. That's what I call pool reading for Sophie. Historical romance, of course. Speaking of indulgences, again, birthday present to myself, the Han Solo trilogy from Barnes & Noble. It's the bind-up edition with like silver pages. Oh, it's so pretty, you guys. I have heard a lot, look at these end papers. I have heard a lot about this trilogy. It's by an author by the name of A.C. Crispin, and it contains the following 3 stories: The Paradise Snare, The Hutt Gambit, and Rebel Dawn, and it's known as the Han Solo trilogy. I loved the movie Solo, have seen it twice so far, hoping to see it a 3rd time in IMAX. And, you know, it wasn't perfect. No, it wasn't perfect. But everyone in the fandom seems to point to these 3 stories as sort of the quintessential books written about Han from kind of his teen years up until episode 4, up until he meets Ben and Luke. These next 2 books, I don't even know, I wish I knew who recommended them. It was on Instagram, and when I talked about Chick Lit-a-thon, they were like, Sophie, you've got to read these. They're Hester Brown's The Runaway Princess and Vintage Girl. And these are, first of all, these are blurb by Sophie Kinsella. So she said, Hester Brown writes with such wit and polish, I love it. So you know I'm immediately there. And it's about, oh, it even has topics and questions for discussion. So it's about a girl named Jo who tries really hard to stay out of dating, and she'd much rather landscape a garden with her dog Badger, until she meets Leo Wolfsburg, who is handsome, polite, funny, and intriguing. He is everything that she could ever want, but his lifestyle is so different from her own because he's got private planes and charity balls and exclusive members clubs. So it sounds a little bit of a Cinderella story. The other book, Vintage Girl, is this sounds so up my alley. It's about Evie Nicholson, who's asked to visit Kettleshire Castle in Scotland to archive the family heirlooms. She goes there and she meets the handsome, gloomy heir, Robert McAndrew, and there's a candlelit ball. Beach reading. Kat and I jumped on the Booksplosion train and got The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things by Carolyn Mackler. This is a Prince Honor book about a plus-size girl kind of trying to cope with everything she confronts. I think it's been rewritten slightly because this was released in sort of the early or mid 2000s, and I believe some of the more current mentions of things and places in media kind of stuff have been updated. So, and also thanks Target for the big fat ugly 20% sticker over the cover that is almost impossible to remove. Don't you hate those? Speaking of chick lit, Meg Cabot, she's kind of like the queen next to Sophie Kinsella. The Boy is Back. I just wanted to read this so desperately, and Book Outlet had it on massive sale. So part of the reason I wanted to read this book is that it told in like texts and emails, and it's about a boy, I always say a boy, about a guy who left his small town troubles behind, including a broken heart, in this tiny town of Bloomville, Indiana, 10 years ago. And he became rich and famous on the professional golf circuit, and it's about a girl, Becky Flowers, who has a senior relocation business, and they both worked hard to forget each other. However, they are put back together on a fateful night, and everything, including the entire town, is turned upside down. So I really, really want to read this one. This is another book that's all over BookTube, and I just had to get it because I'm such a fangirl. It is so cute. This is Ship It. Look at the cover on the inside, you guys. And it's about Claire, who's a 16-year-old fangirl, obsessed with a show called Demon Heart, and Forrest is an actor on Demon Heart who dreams of bigger roles. They get into a fight/discussion at Comic-Con. You know, I would be that girl. I have borrowed this book from the library, I kid you not, 2 times, and I thought about just borrowing it again, and I had to give it back because I didn't get to it, and I couldn't renew it because it has a waiting list, and it's Maureen Johnson's Truly Devious. I really want to read this book. It's about a prep school that has a murder that occurred in 1936. Actually, not a murder, I'm sorry, a kidnapping. And there were riddles left on the scene at the scene of the crime, signed Truly Devious. So years later, Stevie Bell enters Ellingham Academy and has this ambitious plan to solve this cold case. Everywhere You Want to Be by Christina June. You guys know that both of my girls are in dance, and I'm such a dance mama in a good way, not in an Abby Lee way. This is about Tilly Castillo, who has always done what she's told. She has her plans all figured out, but senior year, she is seriously injured and her dreams of becoming a contemporary dancer slip away. Then she gets a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to spend the summer in New York with a dance troupe, and nothing can stop her from saying yes, including a commitment she's made to Georgetown University. So this sounds just like that book, that senior year transition period where you want to do your own thing, but you know, your parents are still probably financing your journey into college or helping you with it. So I don't know. I senior year books are always a good way to start a plot for me. Speaking of good ways to start plots, another rock and roll book called I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. And this is about a girl named Angel who is obsessed with a boy band called The Ark. And Jimmy is the front man for The Ark. And the two of them meet. And it's all unexpected and strange and surprising, the reality of it all. This book has really good ratings on Goodreads, you guys. So yes, it's the rock and roll boy band book of my dreams, naturally, but I'm really looking forward to it because, you know, look at the tagline, everyone needs something to believe in. I think it's going to be deeper than just a fluffy story. Not that there's anything wrong with a fluffy story, I love those. Kat and I kept seeing this book everywhere. I think there was a big book blog tour, and it just sounded, I mean, honestly, kind of silly and kind of far-fetched, and we were so there. So I got a big fat gift certificate. Thank you, mother-in-law dear. And I am really excited about reading this. Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson, about a girl who decides to bring her friend back from the dead, I know, zombies, in order to solve her murder. So should be cool, right? This is another book that I got with that gift certificate present. It's just such a pretty cover, and it sounded a little fluffy, and Huntley Fitzpatrick, the author of My Life Next Door, blurbed it. So I just love Huntley. Always Never Yours by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigemund Broca. This is about a girl who is the girl that boys break up with when they find their true love. As someone who was a bridesmaid way too many times and had given up all hope of ever finding the right guy, I can totally relate. Many thanks to Katie and Pixie over at Page Turners, as well as Stacy at Page Turners. You guys sent me Bookish Boyfriends, A Date with Darcy by Tiffany Schmidt. And this is about a girl, Merle Campbell, who's 15, who just thinks chivalry is dead. She and her younger sister Rory transfer to Reginald Art Hero Prep School, where everyone looks like a Romeo. Totally up my alley. Speaking of friends' recommendations, Lisa once again from Books and Smiles. She keeps mentioning this book, Letters to the Lost, and again, a Book Outlet. Thank you so much for having such affordable books. This is by Bridget Kemmerer, and it's about Juliet, who has lost her mom, and Declan, who's trying to escape demons from his past. Juliet writes letters to her mom who's passed away, and Declan actually answers one of the letters. So I guess that's maybe how they meet. I don't know. Lisa gives this book such high praise that I know it's going to be good. In 2017, it seems like a year ago, one of my top 10 books was When Dimple Met Rishi, and the companion novel From Twinkle with Love by Sanjay Menon has come out. One of the things that I loved about When Dimple Met Rishi were the fact that the parents were present, and they were so super ethnic, you guys, like my parents were. What I loved is the way Sandhya successfully wove in the parents' wishes for the characters to stay true to their ethnic roots, as well as the characters wanting to be Americanized. You know, I totally get that. As an immigrant child myself, that was a struggle that definitely was around in my teenage years and even in my young adult years. So I just love this idea. The main character, Twinkle Mehra, is a filmmaker, want-to-be filmmaker, and I think there's a love triangle that appears in this book. I'm so there for this. Okay, the next book is The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu. And this book, it kind of reminds me of Geekerella because there's a food truck involved, but it's about a girl who doesn't take life too seriously and pushes a joke too far. Her dad punishes her by having her work on the family food truck called Cobra, which is a combination of Korean and Brazilian food. And she, not only that, but she's working alongside her nemesis, Rose Carver. I mean, sounds like a fun summer, right? And the last book in my ginormous book haul is, again, 2 years ago. This book was in my top 10. I don't even remember. It might have been #1. I loved it so much. I recommended it to literally everyone. And I read it just like this at the beginning of summer. Loved it so much. Willow Dean is always going to be one of my favorite characters. The companion novel Puddin' is out by Julie Murphy, and this is everything to me. I mean, just the idea of getting that really wickedly funny humor from Julie and going back to this town and seeing what Willow Dean is up to, as well as meeting some new characters, just has me all excited. So, you guys, what did you get in the month of May? Did you haul a ton load of books like I did? Let me know down below. Let me know what your #1 favorite book is from your May book haul. Thanks so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up and click subscribe. Please hit the bell icon because, as you know, say it with me, you never know when I'm gonna post. And just thanks so much for watching. Happy June.